Hello there, welcome to my channel Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly and I have a gorgeous 2-page layout that we're going to be creating using the Floral Delight collection. We're also going to be talking about combining ideas to create that second page, and in this case specifically sketch ideas. Now I've used the Floral Delight collection on a couple other beautiful layouts that you can see here, and I'll link in the description the full process video for this particular one, but I have been absolutely loving this collection. Gingham, vellum, florals, gorgeous stamps, and unique dies. I love everything about this collection. I'm going to be creating tonight with Savannah. Savannah is the granddaughter of my friend and helper, Mary. Mary shared quite a few photos of Savannah with me in hopes that I may be able to use her as my subject in some feature layouts that she might be able to use for decorations at Savannah's upcoming graduation. So I sort of organized the photos according to outfit. So we have 2 of each outfit, and then the one in the center is a little bit of a different outfit with some great green in it. I love that Mary is helping with the graduation and that she's looking for ways to decorate using scrapbooking pages. It's one of my favorite things to do. Now I'm pulling up Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine and I'm clicking on the magazine section, and there's actually a sketch section under the magazine section. And there are tons and tons of free sketches that are broken down according to year and according to season. So there's fall and winter sketches, spring and summer sketches of each year, and I'm actually just going to click on one of those here and show you what happens. Now I think that I believe I clicked on fall and winter, nope, spring and summer sketches. You can download those. Those are usually in a zip file, or you can look at those separately. Now in this particular series, we have a bunch of sketches by Allison Davis. Now I had the pleasure of seeing Allison and taking one of Allison's classes at She Loves Color this past year, and she is incredible. She shows here with these bonus sketch options not only a free sketch, but she shows 20 different variations and combinations of these sketches. Now I have been using sketches for years because close to my heart had sketchbooks, and we also had patterns in our workshops, and then I also create my own sketches for my guides, and I do some of my own inspiration as well. But I have loved using sketches, rotating those sketches for the second page, or doing some kind of a variation of a single sketch for the second page. I also love to combine sketches. So even if they are 2 separate sketches, but maybe similar, or they're what I want to say, they are complementary of each other, I will put those 2 sketches together to be able to get that second page out of it. It's often easy to come up with a focal page, especially a focal page with a single photo that's beautiful, because there are so many single page sketches out there. But often we need functional layouts. We need layouts that have that companion page with lots of functional photo opportunities. So I really love this circle sketch here, and I also love the strip sketch, and I was thinking about combining the ideas of 2 of those, but I really kind of like the idea of the floral being on both ends, the left and the right. So if I flip the circle sketch and sort of use that as my general guide for my left page, and then I use the stripes on the right page and have the florals end up on the right, I think I could end up with an absolutely stunning 2-page layout. So I'm looking at the photos here, and I actually have 5 photos left of Savannah to get done. But I like the idea of her at least looking inward. So she's looking inward from the right and inward from the left. So I think the focal photo will be in her little green jumper, and then we'll use the 2 jean photos on the right. And then I guess I will have to force myself to use the collection again, haha, a real tough thing to do, and to be able to finish out her photos. So I've cut 2 white willow pieces here. One is 7 by 10 and one is 5 by 10, because even though the original sketch doesn't have the strips underneath it, I want to make the 2 pages cohesive as if they were meant to go together. So I've also created a circle on the Cricut, a stitched circle and a plain circle. I've done the plain circle in Pecan Pie cardstock, and then of course the stitched circle in Willow white. The Pecan Pie circle is 8.5 inches and the white circle is 8 inches. And I've also will link in the description or put in the description the hashtag M numbers for any Cricut elements that I use in this layout, which is only these circles. So I've created 1-inch strips. And of course, because we have 12 inches of white willow paper, 5 and 7 inches respectively, I've created 12 1-inch strips. I tried to vary the strips with florals and solids. So there's some great burlap looking paper in both the Old Olive and the Pecan Pie in this collection. I did also make sure to add at least 1 strip of the vellum, which is the blue vellum. And I'm just going to organize these strips on the 7 by 10 and the 5 by 10 inch pieces. Now, could you have arranged these strips directly onto your base? Yes, you could have. But I've always been a fan of arranging them on a separate piece of paper so that I would be able to trim the edges for any imperfections, and also so that if I so choose, I could actually pop up an entire layer with foam tape. It's something that I love to do, and if you do not want to waste the extra willow white, you could definitely arrange those directly onto your page. So I'm taking a minute to just get a series that I love that is a combination of large floral, small pattern, the gingham, and then the burlap looking paper. This paper is absolutely gorgeous, and it does lend itself in some ways to feminine when you're adding the florals, but there's so much in this that's masculine. I have created several other layouts that have a more masculine vibe to them, including a dinosaur layout for my grandson. The green and the burlap in this were perfect for that. So now I'm just going to go ahead and adhere my strips onto those pieces, and then we'll be able to add those to the background. Now, in my previous process video, it was a sketch hop, and I created a layout with this, and I went over all of the ingredients in this suite completely. It's a gorgeous suite, and the pieces can be purchased separately or together, but of course when you purchase a whole collection you get a nice discount. So I usually purchase the whole collection because by the time I'm done playing with it, I will have used most of it up. I actually was considering using this collection for one of my quarterly events. I do a big bash usually each quarter, and my paper crafters were just kind of floraled out. They've had a lot of floral lately, and so we opted to hold off our spring bash and do a summer bash with something a little bit more masculine. But the more I use this collection, the more I think I need to do a bash with it anyway, and just go against everything and just do it. I love it so much. It's absolutely gorgeous. So in Allison's sketch, she has some stitching lines around the outside of these pieces. Now, taking one of Allison's classes, she does a lot of gorgeous stitching, and she does hand stitching. And I actually tried my hand at hand stitching, and I will admit I'm not so great at it. I actually can do okay with it, but I'm really, really slow. And as with anything, stitching just takes practice. But I'm sure what she meant by those outer lines was to add stitching. So I'm going to add journal pen, which is a technique that I use an awful lot, and it just does a little bit of an offset on the outside. So now what I envision is popping up these 2 strip pieces, adding my circle for the left page, leaving enough room on the right side of the right page and the left side of the left page for all of those florals and branches. I do feel that I want to add color to the center of the circle. So I would like to create a third circle and use pattern paper for that. It's going to be a 7-inch circle on the interior. And I think probably that light stripe will work great. I'm going to distress the edges of the cardstock and add pecan pie ink to the edges of all of the circles. We're going to be doing that quite a bit throughout this entire layout. We're going to ink pretty much everything. So it's basically going to be a given. I'm not going to make you watch me ink all of the edges. I'll just do a little bit here, and then I'll cut off and finish the rest of that off camera. But that inking just adds a nice little country vibe, a nice little outdoor vibe, and I think we're going to love that. Now, I don't want to ink quite as much of the pattern paper, so I'm going much flatter. I'm keeping my mini ink blending tool really flat on the edges just to add that little teeny bit to the edges. The other pieces I really went full on, so there was a little bit of bleed of that ink, and so I like both. And sometimes if you just want it to stand up a little bit, you can just do the edges just a little bit. Now, looking back at Allison's sketch, she has some longer branches that are coming out of the sketch and then some shorter florals. And I think that the branch in the Floral Delight stamp and die set is going to be perfect for those longer pieces. Of course, when you're reading a sketch, whenever they use stars or florals or any type of icon in the backgrounds of a sketch to just illustrate where you might put specific clusters and things, it's always a given that it can be any icon you want. Just because they've used florals doesn't mean you need to use florals. You can use stars or hexagons or circles or arrows or anything that you would like to use. Now we're going to pull out the stamp and die here. And I actually said it's called Floral Delight, but the collection is Floral Delight. The stamp and die is called Delightful Wishes. I've used this layered stamp and die for the branch on many, many things, layouts and cards already. So I'm going to come in with a darker yellow. I'm going to use crushed curry, and I'm going to use the outline stamp, and then I'm going to use the background stamp in Daffodil Delight, and then I'm going to die cut those out with the die cut that comes right in the kit. We're going to go ahead and stamp some leaves in Old Olive. Now I did add the branch to a few of those floral pieces, not thinking, but I don't actually need the branch because I'm going to cut those pieces out and put them on a die cut branch. So there's a wonderful branch in the Delightful Wishes stamp and die set that I've used so much already, and I can see myself using over and over. Now, I'm not exactly sure if I want to back the photos in another pattern. So I'm looking at maybe the blue, maybe the burlap brown, pecan pie. Neither one of those are really speaking to me. I do have a 1/4 inch photo mat around the 4x6 photos. So all three of the photos are 4x6 vertical, of course. So I have a 4 1/4 by a 6 1/4 photo mat on those. And I do think I'm going to end up going with a 1/2 inch white to make it a little bit bigger of a mat. So maybe 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So now I'm going to pull out all the little pieces that I've created. I'm going to pull out those branches. Now those branches are going to be a little bit long for what I'm trying to do, but I just want to get some dry placement. I just kind of want to put them around and probably do like a cluster of 2 branches in the center and maybe 1 branch on either end. And then I think we'll go ahead and add some large florals to those. So we have some elongated florals coming out and then some large florals. So I've just gone through a little bit of the pattern paper. There's all different kinds of flowers and florals, more than a person needs in this collection. So I've cut a variety of those out. And yes, fussy cutting takes a little bit of time. There's also a die in the Delightful Wishes set where you can do some die cut flowers, There's also a die where you can actually cut florals right out of the vellum as well. But I didn't mind fussy cutting a few of those. They're quite large, so you don't need very many. Of course, as per my usual Kelly style, I cut way more than I need, but I always manage to use them up on future layouts. So I'm actually going to arrange the branches. You don't need near as many branches as I cut because we're snipping those apart and using just different bits and pieces of those branches. And then we'll take those die cut stamped pieces, floral pieces, and we'll arrange those on those and watch the transformation. I absolutely love the concept of adding these florals in different spots to the branches. So I'm going to add some more of the smaller die cut pieces and stamped pieces to like the tips, and then we'll add some where we have the cluster of 3 flowers to like some of the branches that cross over. There's really no rhyme or reason. There's no right or wrong. You can just arrange those florals on the branches however you see fit and however you think that it looks pleasing to you. We'll add some of those die cut stamped leaves in there as fillers, and then we'll fill in between with some of the fussy cut flowers, and we'll just slowly watch the progression of the gorgeous, it's just so gorgeous. These flowers are absolutely gorgeous, and I don't care how many times you say you're flowered out. A collection like this makes you swoon, and you're always saying to yourself, I'll find a use for this. This would be so great as I'm using these for graduation photos today, Mother's Day, family. You could definitely do an outdoor twist on these, even a walk or a hike. Even though there is a floral element to these, you can add more greenery, you can add more leaves, you can add some branches without florals. Or you can even add the branches and just have leaves on those instead of the florals. There's so much you could do with a collection like this, and the striped strips really show off all the different colors in the collection. So if you wanted more blue, more masculine green, more brown, you could focus a little bit more on those tones and a little less on the larger florals. A single floral strip in the midst of a variety of strips really changes up a look. You can still have florals in masculine pages as well. So this is just the fun part where we just get to keep arranging and arranging, adding leaves, adding florals, arranging everything so that it's pleasing. So I absolutely love having my subscription to Scrapbook and Cards Today, and I'm in no way affiliated. I'm in no way get any kickback. There are other publications that I subscribe to as well, just to stay apprised of like current trends and to be motivated myself. I love being inspired by other paper crafters and other creations, and there are different publications like this one that stay ahead of the game, and they stay on top of what current trends are, and they have so many different artists that are guest designers for them, and Allison is just one of them, and she's incredible, and she does a lot of generous sharing. She also has publications for sale. She also sells her sketches. She also does classes for her sketches, but she generously gives sketches away and shows her process behind it, which is incredible. Her brain is amazing. But I've been using sketches for years to combine sketches because, like I said earlier in the video, it's really easy to come up with a single page, in my opinion. You can come up with a focal page very easily, and then you're like, this is a great focal page. Now, how do I make it functional, and how do I make it coordinate? So I love combining sketch ideas. And I also love, like in this case, I'm sort of combining 2 sketch ideas, but I'm also giving it a twist and adding the striped strips under one sketch idea to make it cohesive with the second layout. So there are ways to tie 2 sketches together. I often use 2 sketches that are completely unrelated by 2 completely different artists or my own sketches. So I will create 12-page workshops, and I don't use other people's sketches in my workshops because, of course, typically it's against their, copyright. And also I want it to be my original ideas in my workshops. But what I'll do is I'll take 2 different workshop layouts layouts from two completely different workshops, and then to get more ideas or stretch more ideas, because I do so many workshops, I will actually take one layout from one workshop and another layout side from another workshop and combine those two together to make a completely different layout. When you do the magnitude that I do and you make as many layouts as I do, you need new fresh ideas all the time. So all of those combinations are great. Now I've actually pulled out something called mixed labels. Mixed labels is one of my favorite stamp and die sets, and one of the reasons is just the little what do I want to call, little distressed background piece here that I've made out of the pecan pie. It's so cool. It has texture. I really love that. And sometimes there's a stamp and a die that I just love because of one item in that, but it also has these great labels on it that I can maybe create a title out of. Now I'm going to reach back into my stash and find a die cut piece here. I have just a few odds and ends left over from a Close to My Heart Good Life die cut pack. And sometimes I will save these little die cut pieces just to add little bits and pieces to my layouts. And I kind of feel like this windmill will be perfect. But I also want to create a couple tags and incorporate some of this gorgeous yellow gingham. So what I do to create my tags, this one is actually a 2-inch, let me just double check. Yep, 2-inch piece, 2 by 2. Cut the corner off of each of those, flip the corner that you cut off around and put it on the other opposite corner and snip that off, and you have a great tag pattern. So now I have two of those little mixed label distressed background pieces, two of the gingham tags, and then I have one of the labels from the mixed labels, and I want to stamp You're Pretty Wonderful. So I've inked the edges of all of that with pecan pie. And then I stamped with black, intense black. You could use intense black or Memento black ink. And then I've rubbed with a blending brush a little bit of the Daffodil Delight, and I think it's going to make an adorable little title. Now, the original sketch showed a really, really long title with subtitles, and I love that too, but just the arrangement of this worked out really well to tuck that little title in. Now I want to find a visual triangle. I want to find placement of things that will help me cross my eye over the photo. So the tag in the upper left, cross down to the floral cluster and the title, cross back up to the tag on the right page, helps your eye to draw across the beautiful photo of Savannah on the left, and then cross over her photos on the right. Now a typical layout would have journaling space, and on the sketches that I combined, there's journaling for both of those. And of course you could add journaling somewhere here, but because this isn't my granddaughter, and also because these will be probably feature layouts for table decorations, I didn't know if Mary wanted to journal on them or not. So I'm going to leave that up to Mary if she wants to add some journaling to that, or if she would just like to leave it as a focal decoration, she can do that as well. But on a typical scrapbook layout, I would obviously leave journal strips or have some journal strips. Now these are called Tiny Bee trinkets, and they're actually, I don't believe they're part of this collection if I recall, but I absolutely love them. They might be part of this collection and then I've used them on the Meant to Be collection. Maybe that's the deal. And they're just so cute. So I've added each of those with my Take Your Pick tool to a glue dot, and then I'm just going to add a few of those, not too many of those, a few of those around. And if I didn't mention it earlier, the Delightful Wishes has a little speckle stamp, and I've added pool party speckles around in different places as well. And so looking at the sketch, you can see that by flipping that and then adding the opposite edge, we've created a beautiful pattern out of two separate ideas, 2 or 3 separate ideas. And I'm super happy with how gorgeous it's turned out. I hope that you're happy too. And I hope that you'll go check out Scrapbook and Cards today and all all of those free sketches. You can also check out Allison Davis. I'll link her in this description as well and give her a little plug and thank her for her gorgeous sketches that she so freely and generously shares with everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching my process video with the gorgeous Floral Delight. Won't you hit like, subscribe, the notifications bell, share, and shoot me a comment and let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and come back soon for more tips and tricks right here on Snips by Kelly. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.